My understanding is that there is some level at which bees that visit plants too many times and pollinate it take up too much of the chemical that is used if the chemicals were used in the growing of the plant. So to that end, I've got the A1 amendment. It would provide a cap on the number of times that a bee may visit a plant. They could not visit a plant more than 5 times for the purposes of pollination. If they exceed this cap, they would be guilty of a felony. Now, I know we don't want to create too many felon bees in Minnesota, but this felony would be a mandatory 5-year felony and a mandatory fine of $10,000 that the bee would have to pay. Members, the proceeds from the fines are dedicated. They are dedicated to a special revenue account and are appropriated from that account to the Commissioner of Transportation. The funds could only be used for transportation infrastructure improvements. My back-of-the-napkin fiscal projections are that this should provide sufficient dedicated revenue to fund the entire Senate transportation bill. And I finally note that any bee that is convicted of this felony under this subdivision shall not be disenfranchised from voting. Members, I'd certainly like your support on the A1 amendment.
Where shall I go first? Senator Dames.
Well, thank you, Madam President. And Senator Latz, you almost had me convinced here, but there'd be one little thing I'd like to do. I'd like to do an amendment to your amendment, and I would like to make sure that you're the attorney, you're the jury, and you're the judge that has to go out and deal with the bees and implement the fines and make sure that they're properly paid for and taken care of. And by the way, you can't collect workers' compensation for all the bee stings.
Further discussion of the A1 amendment, Senator Ingebrigtsen.
Thank you, Madam President. Would Senator Latz yield for a question?
He does.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator Latz, being the Judiciary Chairman, has this been through the Judiciary Committee? And I would like to know, I'm always interested in the bed count and what it would cost the folks for the incarceration of potentially, literally millions and millions of felons here.
Senator Latz.
Madam President, this was not introduced as a separate bill, so the committee has not had a chance to consider it yet. By the way, I would not consider Senator Dames' amendment to be friendly.
Further discussion. Senator Dibble.
Madam President, I'll just serve notice if this amendment goes on, I'm going to Rule 21 it to transportation.
Further discussion of the A1 amendment. Senator Pappas.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm wondering if Senator Latz would consider this a friendly amendment. I would like to propose that the bee be made the official state insect.
Further discussion of Amendment A1. Senator Latz.
Madam President, I know there's been a lot of buzz about this topic lately. I think the mosquitoes would have to fight it out with the bees over that one.
Further discussion. Senator Limmer.
Madam President, I don't know a lot about this subject, so I don't want to be stung by this unexpected amendment. Senator Latz, your bill is just hard to believe.
Senator Brown.
Thank you, Madam President. And Senator Latz, I find your amendment very discriminatory. You treat the bee as if they're the only culprit here. What about the wasp and moths? I just don't think it's fair to single out the bee. They have their set of issues in their community, and I would just hope that if this passes, that they have members of their community willing to represent them in court, and I'm appalled at the discriminatory nature of this amendment.
Further discussion of the A1 amendment.
Madam President, point of order. I don't think all
Senator
the discussion.
Daines.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't think all the discussion we're having is on my amendment to the amendment, and I'd like a roll call on that amendment.
Further discussion. Senator Latz.
Madam President, I think the lawyer B from It's a Bee's Life is no longer available, so I'm not sure I'm going to have adequate counsel under the circumstances. I think I better withdraw the A1 amendment.
The A1 amendment is withdrawn.